All right, welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving into a really chilling story about black magic, a vengeful spirit, and the poor guy who accidentally set it all in motion. This is the legend of Kala Jadu. So, our story doesn't start at the beginning. It starts with this thick, heavy sense of dread that's just fallen over this quiet little village. Something that's been sleeping for 20 years, well, it's just woken up. We open with a guy named Girdhari. He's the new postmaster, and he has absolutely no idea what he's just walked into. His colleague is in a full-blown panic, warning him about some old evil that's come back before literally running home because staying out after dark is suddenly a very, very bad idea.
But the warning is so frustratingly vague, you know? He talks about a great incident, this terror from 20 years ago, but he won't even say its name. He thinks it's a bad omen. So Girdhari's left standing there completely baffled. And honestly, so are we. What on earth happened in this place? Well, to get the answer, we actually have to rewind to the night before. It all started with a simple task that went horribly wrong because of one mistake. A mistake made by Girdhari himself.
So just picture this. It's Girdhari. He's new in town. All he wants to do is find some rice to make dinner. But he gets lost in this incredibly thick fog. Can't see a thing. And then he stumbles upon the only light he can see. This one dimly lit little shop run by this old man who seems, well, strangely nice. Now this is where it gets really creepy, and you can see the deception laid out right here. The shopkeeper, Kalacharn, he has this super sweet, inviting smile, but everything else is just off. There's this foul, kind of rotten smell in the air, and his shadow from the lamp, it's way too long, all distorted. Big red flags. And Kalacharn, he plays the frail old man part perfectly. He tricks Girdhari into doing this one tiny, seemingly harmless favor. Just kick this old, blackened clay pot out of the way. And Girdhari does. The pot smashes, and inside are dried human bones and old, withered flowers.
So you can imagine Girdhari's state the next day. A neighbor sees how spooked he is and finally spills the beans on the horrifying story behind that broken pot and the so-called sweet old shopkeeper.
Okay, this timeline lays out the village's whole dark secret. 20 years ago, Kalacharn was this beloved shopkeeper. Everyone trusted him. But then, children started disappearing, always on full moon nights. And the terrible discovery? Kalacharn was practicing black magic, Kala Jadu, and he was about to sacrifice a child. The villagers were so enraged, they delivered their own justice, right there. But his death wasn't the end. A holy man, a sannyasi, had to trap his evil spirit inside that exact clay pot.
And here's the most terrifying part. This isn't some old legend anymore. Kalacharn's spirit is free, and it is furious. It's already attacked a villager, not to kill him, but to use him, to send a message promising to get revenge on every single person in that village. And you can just imagine the weight of this all crashing down on Girdhari. That foul smell, the long shadow, the free rice, it all clicks. He realizes with absolute horror that he wasn't just some random customer. He was a pawn.
This is a huge moment. He confesses everything to his neighbor, admitting that he's the one who unleashed this ancient evil. And in that moment, he stops being a victim and becomes, well, he becomes the hero of our story.
He's completely overwhelmed by guilt, but he's also full of this new sense of purpose. He just asks, what do I have to do? He's ready to face whatever comes next, to do anything to protect the village that he just put in so much danger.
And that brings us to the climax, the final showdown. The villagers get together, led by the very same sannyasi who bound Kalacharn all those years ago, and they come up with a desperate, incredibly high-stakes plan to try and trap this spirit one more time.
So, look at this plan. It is insanely risky. First step, Girdhari has to go into that shop alone as bait. Why him? Because, as step 2 says, Kalacharn trusts him. He thinks Girdhari is on his side. While Girdhari keeps the spirit busy, the sannyasi is going to create a magic circle to trap him. But the whole thing, the entire plan, hinges on step 4, Girdhari jumping out at the exact right second. If he's a moment too late, it's all over.
And just as the trap is sprung, that sweet old man act just melts away. Kalacharn reveals his true, monstrous, demonic form, and he screams at Girdhari, his voice just filled with pure hatred, promising him a horrific death for betraying him. But the sannyasi, he doesn't even flinch. He starts this powerful chant, and all the other villagers, they join in. It's like their faith itself becomes a weapon. And then, bam! Supernatural fire just erupts, swallowing Kalicharan and his ghostly shop, as his inhuman screams just fade away into the night.
So, the spirit is gone, right? Job done? Well, not so fast. The sannyasi knows better. A simple fire isn't going to destroy an evil this old. He has to make sure this thing can never, ever come back.
See, this isn't just another burial. This is a powerful, ancient ritual. They take what's left of his bones, seal them in a new pot with holy items, and bury it. But this time, they're not just leaving it there. They're building a living prison.
And this is the final, brilliant move. The sannyasi plants a banyan tree, a sacred tree that lives for a very, very long time, right on top of the pot. The tree itself becomes the lock and key. Kalicharan's fate is now literally tied to the life of that banyan tree.
Which leaves us with one last, really unsettling thought, doesn't it? A village might remember a story for a generation, maybe two. But over time, stories fade. And all it would take is one person, centuries from now, who doesn't know the story, deciding they need some firewood. It's a reminder that some evils aren't really destroyed. They're just contained, waiting for the next person to make an unintentional mistake.